Slave DiBiase.
What's happening, y'all? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on when you're tuning into this content. I am your illustrious host, Slave DiBiase, aka Tony Spark, aka Slave Daniel Richards. And we are where we're on We the People TV. And this is currently another live episode of the Offenders Initiative podcast. Shout out to all my true offenders, all my stoneheads. Thank y'all for pulling up, whether religiously or in passing, you know what I'm saying? Because I sure do appreciate it. It's another 420, y'all, man. I hope y'all rolled up and all of that. Hold on, let me fix a little something real quick. Hold on, y'all. Let me fix a little something real quick. Hold up. Let me get that right. Hold on. There we go. Got to turn the fan off because I don't like when the smoke be doing what it do. Hold on. It's hold on. All right, we good. I don't know about y'all, but I like to see my smoke floating in the air when I'm doing what I'm doing. But y'all see the caption, man. Welcome to Derry episode 3. Recap and reaction. All my folks, man, put it in the chat right now if you are keeping up with it episode 3. If you've been keeping up with it, period, let me know. Did you see the first 2 movies back in 2020 something, 2017 and all? Did y'all see the first 2 movies? Because if you did, they're fire. And this whole show, that's basically a prequel, it's even more fire. So all my people who are watching that, let me know in the comments, man. So far, what's your favorite situation that they done had? Episode 3, I'm telling y'all right now, it got dark, it got scary. Shout out to Annie Muschietti for all of the special effects he got going on in there. Shout out to all the kids that play in this show right now because they are playing they fucking roles, bro. And without further ado, let's see if we can get on into it. Let me see here. Hold on. I got y'all. Here we. I was just looking at it. Here we go. So before we get into that, I like to give everybody their time to do what they do. You know what I'm saying? Roll up, light up, man. It's another one of them sessions. And this is this content we're about to react to is by way of Think Story. Shout out to them folks. Give them a like, comment, and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? We love what they do. I don't steal, I simply react. And let's get on into it. You feel me?
This is a really important year for a number of reasons. When Ben Hanscom researches the history of Derry, we see that this is the year of the kitchen ironworks explosion, an event that's depicted in the series opening credits, which saw 102 people die, 88 of them children. The ironworks was the location of an Easter egg hunt, hence why we see someone dressed in a bunny costume on fire, and these kids with Easter egg baskets.
The Ironworks Kitchener Ironworks fire. This looks gruesome. I'm wondering, are we going to see that this season? I hope we do, because I know they're gonna put on.
But if you look closely in the background, you can make out Pennywise's wagon. This explosion is said to be the main focus of Season 3 of It, Welcome to Derry, with the Bradley Gang Massacre being the focus of Season 2 set in 1935. 1908 also fits perfectly with its feeding cycle, a cycle which...
Now look at this feeding cycle. Oh shit, y'all. Y'all know we smoking. There's some of that MK Ultra. Yo, the bottom 2 right here where it says Losers Club Part 1 and Part 2. This right here is basically the first 2 movies that we saw a few years ago, a few years back. These other 3 situations, they're going to be the main focus of each season. Every season of It, they're going to go back another 27 years to fill you in on what happened and who came in contact with It and who may or may not have been a victim and or fought him. So the Black Spot, the Bradley Gang Massacre, the Kitchener Ironworks fire, that's basically what these next 2, 3 seasons of It, Welcome to Derry will be about, and they'll have intricate characters that'll play a role within that. This story is really about family, because you'll notice a lot of family members from the original cast. You're seeing the younger versions or some of their family members back in the day in 1962. So let's get to it.
Occurs every 27 years. Now, I just love these old style carnivals, and there's a bunch of cool little details here. I can't help but think of the twins from The Shining when I see these two. The name Boojak here is the name of one of the camera operators from the show. Plus, we get a quick shot of a turtle. Turtles are a nod to Matron, an ancient cosmic protector, and
it is afraid of turtles. Just let that sink in your mind. He eats kids, but he's afraid of turtles. Matron is a intergalactic entity. He's supposed to be the good to its bad. So yeah, y'all get that.
Counterpart to it found in the novel. And bonus points if you caught the piano player is director of the show, Andy Muschietti. This super thin guy makes me think of Stephen King's Thinner, but that might be a stretch. And the House of Mirrors is a nice juxtaposition to the House of Mirrors scene we see over 100 years later in It Chapter 2.
I don't like carnivals, House of Mirrors, and all of that type shit. That's ways for crazy people to play around. I don't like it, bro.
I love this idea that Derry's had a traveling carnival come every year. This is where we meet 12-year-old Francis Shaw, the man that will become general at the nearby Derry Air Force Base in 1962. His father works at this base too, however, as we'll find out later, they'll soon be redeployed.
And that part right there where he's talking to the boy went to this crazy little house, and he gonna tell him, don't be such a sissy, Francis. Stop being scared. You named the boy Francis. You set him up from day one. Come on, you tell him don't be scared.
In 1962. His father works at this base too, however, as we'll find out later, they'll soon be redeployed. In the freak show, Shaw will have his first run-in with the entity, which takes the form of a skinny, one-eyed old man. Remember that it manifests into our greatest fears, so something about a creepy old dude really freaks Shaw out. While their car breaks down, Shaw meets Rose. This is the same woman who runs the antique shop in 62. Fun fact, Stephen King runs this shop in 2016.
Wow, okay, I didn't know that. So his character took over the shop, I guess, after the Native American woman, she passed on.
Shaw, who hands over his slingshot to trade for some water, a weapon that will later be given back to him when he tells Rose he's leaving town. This weapon was used to attack the entity, which may give it a special connection to it. That's why Shaw will later hand this over to Dick Halloran to see if it will lead them to a mysterious object they've been searching for. Slingshots have played an important role in it. In the novel, a slingshot is what young Beverly uses in the Neibolt house to attack it. However, in the movie version, it's changed to an iron rod. Shaw and Rose make it out of the forest alive, but here's something I found really interesting. The entity won't go beyond the forest's edge. We know from It Chapter 2 that the Native Americans who have been on Derry land for centuries before the Europeans purposely moved outside the bounds of this entity's power. They know.
Okay, so when you're watching this, I'm wondering why Pennywise did not want to come out of the woods. Like, he's all in the woods. The little girl Rose here tells young Francis Shaw, she's like, yo, he take off running or whatever, you know, like kids do. And she's like, yo, come back. Don't go in the woods. Don't go in the woods. Why is it scared of the wood line? Like, it will not come out of the woods. That's something a little crazy to me.
Know how far this thing can reach. Now, this is likely why the military is searching for this object. Imagine if it could be weaponized to instill fear into America's enemies. I don't believe it's said.
Oh, the regular bullshit, man. Instead of trying to find something evil like this and kill it, you want to take it for yourself. Fucking America with 3 Ks at the end want to take it for themselves and weaponize it against other fucking people. This is when you're playing with stuff you don't know that you're playing with. Same thing happened in Stephen King, The Mist. The military playing around with interdimensional portals, and they open up a portal with giant bugs coming out killing people. Stop fucking with shit.
In the show, but this could be the Shakapiwa tribe, a fictional indigenous group first seen in the films and considered the first ones who fought it. They were the ones who tried to contain it.
Stash was good, Brody. Thank you for pulling up, man. I wish you was rolling up, but I guess pull up, whatever you're gonna do, man. We just talking about it, episode 3, man. I happen to be keeping up with this. This is a fire show. Please get in tune. Please get in tune.
With a ritual based on belief, a ritual known as the Ritual of Chud. When Shaw returns to Derry, he's surprised to see Rose's name on the cease and desist letter. This is a name he forgot, even though he promised he'd never forget her as a child. This is something we know from the movies. Once you leave Derry, you tend to forget what happened there. This is what happened to the adults of the Losers Club. Everyone but Mike, who stayed in Derry, started to forget their childhood memories, only for them to slowly come back as they returned to town.
This place has a way to make people forget, even if they don't want to.
Shaw reveals that
This is it. Welcome to Derry. They're on the 3rd episode. So if you got your HBO Max popping and all that, or your bootleg, hey, I ain't hating on it, get you how you live. You know what I'm saying? They on episode 3, so you can kind of binge and catch up. Did you see the first 2 movies? It and It Chapter 2?
he's in charge of the dig site, lying to her, saying it's all part of a plan to lay new pipes. Rose has her
That's
nephew
thirsty.
Neil keeping tabs on the place, and it won't take a rocket scientist to figure out this isn't about laying pipe.
Okay, that's funny. This isn't about laying pipe. Okay, good question from my man Stashcast here. Is it scary like the movie or nah? Yo, bro, I'm gonna tell you like this. Pennywise was slick taking it easy on the Losers Club with the way that he like handled them. He was kind of like playing with his food. He ain't playing with nobody on this show. Nobody.
But Rose secretly wants the military to continue what they're doing, at least until she's figured out what they're up to. I suspect this isn't going to be the last time Rose and Shaw reconnect. She may even try to reignite their relationship in an effort to find out what's really going on. Now let's shift gears and talk about how these kids are going to prove this
She's definitely gonna do that. When they were at that town meeting that you see them sitting at right here, her family member, her youngin right here, is telling them, yo, we want these white men off our damn land. Tell them to move out. The military is doing some sort of dig site out in the little Native American part of Derry or whatever. She's like, I'm not tripping. I want to see what they're searching for first, because she knows that it is out there. She knows. So yeah, she's smart. She real smart.
on. Now let's shift gears and talk about how these kids are going to prove this it entity is real. At the end of episode 2, Lily Bainbridge was haunted by her pickle daddy, an outburst that found her returning to Juniper Hill.
That girl saw her dead daddy body parts, his head cut up in a jar of pickles. Then the pickles bust all over the floor, as you could see. And goddamn made a pickle dad. What the fuck? You asking me, is it scary? Look at this shit. Man, hell nah.
Lily Bainbridge was haunted by her pickle daddy, an outburst that found her returning to Juniper Hill. This is the iconic Stephen King insane asylum found in titles such as The Tommyknockers, Insomnia, and Gerald's Game.
I love it. He's the first. Stephen King might be one of the first people to have a shared universe. You know what I'm saying? And he did it right. Not all of the stories necessarily need to connect. They can stand alone, but they do connect with the characters or some of the vibes of it. Stephen King is really the GOAT for real. Do you need to watch the first 2 movies in order to watch this series? No, honestly. You could be a brand new person getting introduced just like another person coming to Derry, and then you fuck around and find out there's a killer clown eating kids out there. You know, I mean, you could watch it.
It entity is real. At the end of episode 2, Lily Bainbridge was haunted by her pickle daddy, an outburst that found her returning to Juniper Hill. This is the iconic Stephen King insane asylum found in titles such as The Tommyknockers, Insomnia, and Gerald's Game. It's even shown, albeit using a different location, in the King-based TV series Castle Rock.
I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'd have sent her motherfucking ass to the crazy house too. She talking about some pickles that was trying to eat her. Okay, sweetie, we got you. Come on this way. Come on now.
This is where patients like It's Henry Bowers and Gerald's Game's Raymond Joubert were committed, so it's kind of wild to think Lily's in the same place as these guys. Remember, this isn't her first time here. She was sent shortly after the death of her father after having a sort of mental break, but it looks like her stay here isn't that long. She's given chlorpromazine, an antipsychotic used to treat conditions like schizophrenia and psychosis, but
that's messed up. They put that baby on that goddamn medicine, man, trying to call her crazy, and she really telling the truth. Y'all better, hey, that's what I'm gonna tell y'all, man. I watch a lot of horror, right? Me and my whole family, we watch a lot of horror. Here's the thing that I know within my heart of hearts. If one of my kids came in this motherfucker right now, said I saw something in the corner growling with yellow eyes talking about it wants to eat me and my family, I'm not finna call my baby crazy. We packing up that motherfucking night. My baby ain't got no reason to lie to no goddamn body. You heard me? We leaving that night. Fuck that house. Burn it. Don't care.
But I want to take a moment to talk about this woman. The actress here is given her own credit in the intro, but her character is never named. The doctor simply refers to her as a woman who works in housekeeping who's built a bond with Lily. According to Dish.com, this woman has deep roots to Derry's past and whose knowledge of the town's dark secrets may hold the key to Pennywise's origins. Stick around to my trailer sleuthing section. We're going to talk about her a lot more.
Okay, so again, all of this is happening. This show right here, this particular season, the first season is happening before the first two movies. So this is a prequel. It been in Derry, been eating kids, people been coming up missing. There's been all sorts of death, hatred, and darkness, a black spot on that town, and nobody knows why, or they don't even care to notice.
When Ronnie returns to school, she's greeted with dirty looks and a hatchet Hank's gonna fry emblazoned on her locker.
Okay, I thought this was a little mean because the whole town thinks this girl Ronnie thinks her father killed all those kids in the first episode. They think he has something to do with it. As a matter of fact, they said somebody lied and called up to the police station and placed him on Jackson Street near the movie theater where all them kids got ripped to shreds at 11:30 at night. My man said, I was in bed asleep. The chief ain't want to hear that shit, though. Got him locked up. So now, of course, they're bullying the girl, calling her father a serial killer and all of that. It's pretty nasty work.
Last episode, her father Hank was taken into custody for the murders of Phil and Susie Malkin and Theo Uris. We'll see him in the Derry jail have a short meeting with Sheriff Clint Bowers, an ancestor of Butch and Henry. Clint was pressured into making...
He low-key a crazy motherfucker. If they his family, he a crazy motherfucker. It's in him. It's in his blood.
Making this arrest by city council members, even though the evidence was non-existent. We'll see just how corrupt he is when he states an eyewitness saw Hank at 11:30 p.m. near the theater the night of the murder.
Bullshit.
Plus, Hank's favorite brand of cigarettes, Embassy Gold, were found at the scene of the crime. I mean, of course.
Yo, how the fuck it done framed a nigga, bro? It really went through all these different... It framed a whole person for murder. This is a whole different entity. Now it got me intrigued because I know a little bit about the Stephen King universe, but I'm not as well versed in it as I am in Marvel and DC. Where did it come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, where did it come from?
Of course, you'll find a pack there. That's where he works. Clint warns Hank that he's headed to Shawshank Penitentiary, a prison featured in many of King's works, but most famously the Shawshank Redemption. Since it's 1962, theoretically, he could arrive there the same time that Andy Dufresne's there.
Look at that shared universe work right there. God damn it.
Because Ronnie's graffiti was done in lipstick, we can guess it was written by one of the members of the Mean Girl clique, the Patty Cake.
I would have beat them hoes up. And if I'd have had to come and pick my daughter up from school because she got in a fight with these three girls, I would have said, did you win? Yeah, daddy, I won. All right, come on here. Let's go. Fuck these people. Let's go.
We saw just how cruel they can be last episode. The last person Ronnie wants to see is Lily, whose interview with Sheriff Bowers landed Hank in jail. But things have changed the last time these two talked. Both of them experienced visits from it. They're the only two who...
They were in the bathroom. Ronnie over there washing her hands, trying to get the lipstick off her hands or whatever. And a girl right here walking, talking about some, I'm sorry, Martin. I just didn't want to go to Arizona. You know, so she came in there talking about some, I'm sorry. I want to make it right. I'm gonna tell your dad what happened and all that. She said, bitch, get out my face. I should be whooping your ass right now for you got my daddy in jail. So yeah, nah. This girl is the tough one. She's the tough one out of the group. She might even be the leader, low-key.
Know of this thing's existence, but they don't have a way to prove it's real. If they could prove it, they could exonerate Ronnie's father, and Lily wouldn't be seen as crazy. A fun detail, but the Van Helden rubbing alcohol is named after a graphic designer on the show and can also be seen as one of the missing children.
Dang.
Using Lily's camera, they decide to capture the entity on film. The only thing is they can't exactly have it developed in town for fear it could be destroyed.
So their grand idea, and this is anything that you know in life, people don't believe shit until they see it themselves. So Them two are having a conversation in the bathroom, and she says, well, how are we gonna get the proof? Oh, girl pulls out a little camera and says, hey, we're gonna capture a picture of it. Stupidest shit ever, but whatever.
Capture the entity on film. The only thing is they can't exactly have it developed in town for fear it could be destroyed. That's where Will and Rich come in. When they're not discussing who has the better tatas in town, these two are being roped into a scheme to prove an evil entity has taken over town. And Will, with his science knowledge, just might be the go-to guy to help them develop this film. Lily brings them to the Derry standpipe, the abandoned hideout Maddie took her to in episode 1.
Oh man, R.I.P. Maddie. Maddie got fucked up by it, man. It was crazy. The first episode was straight out the gate. It was crazy. Rest in peace to man,
This seems to be the place where Lily has to prove to people that this entity exists, as in episode 1, this is where she tried to get Theo and Phil to believe Maddie's fingers appeared in her sewer pipe. Rich believes it could be an Oricha, a divine spirit in Cuban lore that acts as an intermediary between the supreme creator and the people. Will, well, he's not sure what to believe. He's a man of science, and this isn't exactly what you'd find in a textbook.
Depending on who you speak to, science and magic are one and the same.
Still, Rich and Will decide to join them because, hey, what better way to spend your time in a small town than engaging in haunted seances in your local cemetery? First of all, big shout out to these kids because there's no way in hell I'd do this when I was 12 years old. Rich conducts the ceremony following the rules.
Hey, that's a fact. That's a fact. I'm an 80s baby, 90s raised me. I'm not playing around in no stank ass graveyard, bro. I'm not fucking with no graveyards after dark. They got the mist flying off the ground and shit. Boy, hell no. That looked like Mr. Raincoat gonna come out the cut and kill everybody because y'all out here playing. Take y'all ass home. Their grand idea from the little Hispanic boy here is to summon the Oricha. That's what they call it. He said that's an evil spirit. They had to do a ritual where they light some candles. They all sit in a circle and they don't face each other to be on the lookout for when the evil spirit comes to life. Total bullshit. But hey, I guess kids, when they're that age, they'll do anything to have some friends when they don't have none.
He heard from his cousin, who heard from his uncle, who was an Ifa priest. Needless to say, he was full of shit, but when the kids decide to bounce, they're attacked by ghosts of Teddy, Susie, and Rich's uncle. The haunted bike ride sequence sees the camera being swamped more than Bonnie Blue. Will ends up
Jesus Christ. Yo, thanks, Story. I didn't know you was gonna say that, bro. Now I'm running that back.
Because there's no way in hell I'd do this when I was 12 years old. Rich conducts the ceremony following the rules he heard from his cousin, who heard from his uncle, who was an Ifa priest. Needless to say, he was full of shit, but when the kids decide to bounce, they're attacked by ghosts of Teddy, Susie.
The kids that got killed in the first episode, it brought them back as ghosts to chase these kids on their bikes.
And Rich's uncle. The haunted bike ride sequence sees the camera being swamped more than Bonnie Blue. Will ends up separated from the rest where he uncovers something in a nearby crypt. You can actually catch 2 glimpses of it.
It walked behind him back off in the air. You seen something go shh. He gonna turn around with the light and start shining the light over in the corner trying to see what it is. We don't go check it out, nigga. In what world do we go check it out? You don't do that. That's how you die. Go check it out.
One here and one here. It isn't until the film's developed, however, that we get a look at what it is. Breaking into the school's photography lab, the kids developed, however, that we get a look at what it is.
This is the closest to our first look at officially seeing Pennywise in the dancing clown form. And that just looks crazy alone.
Breaking into the school's photography lab, the kids develop the photos. One of them shows Teddy's ghost, while the other, the one Will took in the crypt, shows Pennywise. So we have this quote-unquote proof. What's gonna happen next? And I'm gonna guess not a heck of a lot. The powers that be in Derry are already primed not to believe anything that proves this entity's existence. In my last video, I talked about how the town subconsciously looks past all the corruption and violence the entity instills on the people.
It's making people just excuse all the violence that has happened in the past of this damn town. This town is cursed, bruh. and it pops up more than once in the Stephen King universe of just being a fucked up ass place to be at.
Thinking three things could happen next with these photos. A, they could be destroyed. B, when the adults look at them, the ghosts have vanished. Or C, it isn't good enough proof, or they're too blurry for anything to really change. There's one particular shot in the trailers I think shows what happens, but I'll save that for my trailer sleuthing section. Arguably the biggest mystery of the show is what's going on with the military and their search for this mysterious object. At the end of last episode, a large 1920s-30s automobile filled with skeletons, Tommy guns, and cash was recovered from the dig site. General Shaw tells us the whole thing was dismantled in search, but what they're looking for wasn't found. In fact, what they're looking for was buried 300 years before the automobile was even invented. The automobile as we know it.
Yeah, so they said that was some sort of town massacre, that car that they pulled out of the ground with all those bodies and all that in there. They said these guys were supposed to have been some old fake ass wannabe John Dillinger type characters, you know, looting and pillaging the town. So the town got sick of that shit and shot the shit out of all their ass. I think it had something to do with that too.
Automobile filled with skeletons, Tommy guns, and cash was recovered from the dig site. General Shaw tells us the whole thing was dismantled in search, but what they're looking for wasn't found. In fact, what they're looking for was buried 300 years before the automobile was even invented. The automobile as we know.
I wasn't sure before, but when Shaw said what we're looking for was buried in Derry at least 300 years prior to the automobile even being invented, I knew he knew about it. Again, this is that whole government secrecy shit. You motherfuckers be knowing about shit and don't want to let the general public know because it'll cause an international incident. No, please tell us there's aliens from outer space coming to kill us. I think we could all stand a chance to prepare. Possibly. Shit.
It was invented around 1886, so this burial would have occurred in the late 1500s, which is about 2 decades before any permanent European colonies were established in Maine, meaning this burial would have likely been done by the Native Americans.
Fact.
We also learned that this particular automobile was part of another big Derry event, the Bradley Gang Massacre of 1935. This event can also be seen on a town mural in the It movies. Here, Colonel Fuller makes distinct mention of the entity, so the military is aware of it. Who told them about this, and how does Dick Halloran fit into it all? It was Dick who led the team to this automobile, and Fuller recounts how the It entity was seen at the site of this Bradley Gang Massacre.
If y'all haven't checked out the show, if you're now going to tune into it, when you look at the intro card to the show, it's so crazy and intricate. You'll basically see it in every shot of it somehow, some way, with the way that it's drawn in. And then the intro song is creepy. This show is full of like mystery, horror, got a little comedy in it. It's all right. This show is all right. Shout out to Stephen King, man. And shout out to everybody that's a part of this show. Bill Skarsgård, the guy who plays Pennywise, is also executive producer on this show, along with Annie Muschietti and his wife, I think, as well. So this is a little fire to me, man.
So there is a connection between objects it has interacted with and Dick's powers. It's why Shaw gives Dick his slingshot. By touching it, Dick's connection with the entity strengthens. Some of the top theories of what they're looking for are A, Pennywise in the lair, which the military would want to weaponize, or B, parts of the meteor that crash-landed millennia ago. Remember, whatever it is they're looking for would have to be over 300 years old. Now that Shaw has found a man...
They're looking for it. That's what they're looking for. But like, that's not the smoke you even want. Like, Pennywise the dancing clown is its form that humans can like contend with. If it showed its true form, he would be like a giant, nasty looking spider. Who wants that?
And with no fear in Leroy Hanlon, a man who had his small amygdala damaged in the Korean War, that part of the brain that handles fear, they can take him and Halloran on quote-unquote surveillance missions. By having Dick up in the air, they can basically use him like a human compass.
So the pilot, Leroy Hanlon, he got hit in his medulla oblongata. So he don't fear nothing no more. That's the reason why, you know what I'm saying, instead of being in situations where you should be scared, he'll sit up and he'll be in a situation where he's analyzing everything. You know what I'm saying? He's breaking down, he on some James Bond equalizer type shit. He breaking down what he can kill you in the room and all of that. But he doesn't even, I mean, he has that kind of training, but not really. It's just like within him, the instinct. He don't have that fear in his brain anymore. It's like literally medically, chemically, clinically taken out of his head.
And now that he's armed with an object that might strengthen this signal, they head up into the air. Dick guides Hanlon as he touches the slingshot and witnesses the events Shaw experienced as a child. At least that's what's implied. This is called psychometry, the ability to sense information about a person, place, or event by touching an object. Characters like Johnny in the Dead Zone also possess this ability. Dick soon finds himself in a trance and transported to Pennywise's lair. There he sees,
and we see Pennywise's eyes off in the background. This got crazy, y'all.
Pennywise's glowing eyes, who asks him, "Who are you?" This is really interesting, as we've never really seen Pennywise as the one asking the questions. Dick will later question whether they should just give up this search, because this thing wasn't supposed to see him, and now it knows they're coming. He gets the feeling if they continue to search, something very bad will happen. Dick experiences quick flashes of a Mardi Gras mask, a dead soldier, trenches, and a woman. These might all be connected to fears from his past. If he fought in Korea or World War II, that might explain the dead soldier.
That was a pretty intense little vision quest he went on with Pennywise messing with his mind. And see, just because of shit like this, real talk, bro, they need to be, you know what I'm saying, as soon as you get out of the army, the military period, whatever it is, they should just be giving you a weed card, bro. So you don't have to deal with this in your sleep.
Woman in the nightgown might be his grandmother, one who we'll see floating in Pennywise's lair. In The Shining, we know that Dick had a special connection with his grandmother, who also possessed the ability to shine. He states that sometimes they'd even have full conversations with each other just in their heads. As for the carnival mask, we don't really know if Dick spent any time near a city like New Orleans, where Mardi Gras.
He definitely was in New Orleans if he seen some shit like this. Or maybe he was in France. Who knows?
Type of masks are worn, although Mike Flanagan did have Dick living in New Orleans in a now scrapped prequel idea. Dick almost flings himself from the back of the plane, but is broken out of his trance and stopped. Shaw reiterates how important this mission is and tells Halloran he did great work, granting him more special privileges. Dick wants a place where he and the boys don't have to worry about the rain crashing down on them, so I think Shaw will hook them up with a place that will eventually become the Black Spot, an African-American speakeasy where the airmen can unwind that eventually gets burned down by it. Dick is
We just can't have nothing. We get our own spot where we want to chill at, a motherfucker burn it down. We can't have nothing.
Invited over to the Hallorans for dinner. He can read minds, which is how he senses Charlotte isn't quite at ease in this town. Back in Shreveport, she was heavily involved in the civil rights movement, but here in Derry, she has to hold herself back as it might affect her husband's ability to work his way up in the military.
That's exactly what it's going to do, and I'm glad she's respecting the fact that that's what's going on, even though she slick don't respect it at the same time. She doing what she got to do. She's holding herself back. I don't like that. It's just, you want your husband to win, right? That's all I'm saying.
So there's got to be a little resentment there. Dick also knows about Leroy's son, even though Leroy never mentioned him. And due to Leroy's broken brain, he can somehow sense when Dick is digging in there. He felt that same sensation the night he was attacked by the gas mask men. This is how he deduced Dick was one of those men. Dick had to be there in order to confirm Leroy really felt no fear. Dick also tells Leroy about...
See? Leroy is supernatural in his own. Just that whole fact that his brain is missing the part that, you know what I'm saying, brings up fear and all that. That's a little supernatural in itself.
His ability. However, he doesn't really know how to describe it, basically stating that it's like seeing things without seeing things. Leroy saved his life, and Dick agrees never to go digging in his head again, going on to state he wouldn't mind having a man without fear beside him in the trenches. This likely foreshadows the two of them going to war together.
Go get Daredevil, nigga. I'm not going to World War II with you, and I'm not finna go in them fucking sewers looking for no killer clown that eats kids neither. I'm not doing that neither.
not against a country, but against the entity itself. Now we head into our trailer sleuthing section where we take a look at the trailers to see what could be in store in the episodes ahead. Charlotte here with Rose. Because she's such an activist, I wouldn't be surprised if she joins up with the Native Americans against the military's dig sites.
I would love to see that.
The kids here in front of Sheriff Bowers, who tells them to keep their noses out of police business.
Keep your noses out of police business. I don't want to hear about or see you kids around any of these crime scenes anymore and all that. His family is a bunch of haters, bruh. I wondered if he ended up getting bodied too.
Maybe they went to him to show the developed pictures and he completely dismisses them.
Probably.
Something really bad happens at the school, as we'll see kids clamoring for the doors, and later this shot of Patty and the others floating with their eyeballs spinning back.
They all float down there. Hold on. That means Pennywise done got a hold of everybody. Look at them. Stupid ass.
Clamoring for the doors, and later this shot of Patty and the
dumbass. You done got all y'all ass. That's what you get. That's what y'all get.
The others floating with their eyeballs spinning back. Ronnie's father Hank being sent to Shawshank prison, so it doesn't look like the kid's plan has made any traction. Lily uncovering an old photo album that looks like it's from 1908.
That dude looked like it. Hold on.
Uncovering an old photo album that looks like
that's definitely it. Did he like take the form of this guy or something like that? And then there's a little girl there with him. Oh, that's a theory. All right.
It's from 1908. The show has hinted at a Pennywise origin story. The kids heading into the Derry sewers, and we see that Marge has joined the group. A meteor crash lands, most likely the meteor that contains the entity. Here's Dick haunted by a woman. Is it his grandma or someone else? I also think that building behind him is the black spot, which we'll also see more images of in the behind-the-scenes footage. Some of the footage shows this gray smoke or mist descending.
Y'all saw the original movie The Mist, right? Y'all saw what happened when The Mist came out.
Upon the town. One theory argues a big connection to Stephen King's The Mist. In it, a government program called the Arrowhead Project attempts to access other dimensions and inadvertently releases monsters. As a fun fact, one of the buildings in town is called the Arrowhead. Operation Precept is reminiscent of Project Arrowhead and could be a prequel explanation for how the military first learned to exploit interdimensional entities.
Keep that world building up. Keep cooking. Keep that world building going on. You know what I'm talking about? Keep that shared universe shit going on. I love that shit. Let's go.
The dig sites, therefore, might be conduits or portals to the macroverse, the universes beyond and around our own. The girls will uncover dozens of missing persons posters plastered along the standpipe during this mist. We can see that one of them is Patricia from school.
Wow. So she gets got. We breaking down what happens in the next episode, possibly. Somewhere along the line, she gets got. You know, you will want to be like, maybe Pennywise has these kids in a trance and they can come back to life. No, they're dead. He ate them.
Cool. This looks to be Tennille, handcuffed and interrogated. Perhaps he got caught trying to infiltrate one of the military dig sites. He'll eventually join Leroy amongst the mist. We'll see more of him in the Weeks Ahead trailer where he talks about people going into his head and doing something to him. Perhaps while being interrogated, Dick goes into his mind to see if he's telling the truth. The girl's here holding a glowing ancient relic. Could this be part of what the military is looking for? At another dig site, we'll see this white object. Is it part of the meteor that crash landed, or a relic from Derry's past?
Why you just touching that with your hands, bruh? See, when I bet you something bite the shit out you. Yeah. Bet you something bite the shit out you.
I think this is the housekeeper woman Lily befriends at Juniper Hill. She says rather creepily, no one in Derry ever really dies. And just the way she says it makes me think she's evil or some sort of manifestation of Pennywise. In fact, this might be her in this shot here while Lily's looking at those albums. Dish.com did say that this character knows a lot about Derry's past and Pennywise. We also see a child next to the human version of Pennywise. Maybe she is Pennywise's daughter. Or at least
that's what I was thinking. Fire. Good looking thing, story. Fire.
The human version before it manifested as Pennywise. This could mean she is sadistically working with Pennywise, believing there is some version of her dad still in there. What if this woman was the little girl clown we saw at the beginning of the episode?
I can see that. I can see that.
visit the set video, we do see that this carnival features Pennywise. What if they were a father-daughter duo that traveled with the circus? Speaking of Pennywise, we get a lot of shots of him with flames in the background. This seems to be too small to be the black spot, and the Kitchener Ironworks fire isn't supposed to happen until season 3. My best guess is that this is the school, perhaps the gymnasium where a school dance happens and we see the children fall under Pennywise.
Bruh. First of all, hold on. Let's go back to this. This is a crazy ass shot, bruh. That is crazy.
Perhaps the gymnasium where a school dance happens and we see the children fall under Pennywise's spell. This would explain the zombie-like figures behind him. But now I want to hear your thoughts and theories. What did you think of this week's episode? Write in the comments below.
All right, that's Think Story. Go like, comment, and subscribe to them folks over there. Good looking, good looking. Truly another good sesh, y'all. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I am definitely fried again. If y'all want y'all some MK Ultra, if you get a chance and it comes across you, please get some. MK Ultra is a beauty. It's a beauty. And that's pretty much it, man. Welcome to Derry, episode 3. What are y'all thinking? What are we thinking, man? Let me know in the comments, man. Y'all still fucking with the show? Or you gonna come back and watch it again next week, man? And pull up to another session, man. Tell me what y'all smoking on in the comments, man. And yeah, we all float down here and we out. Goddamn.